Meanwhile, President Trump meeting with auto executives today, focusing on his comments, his commitment, rather, for jobs right here in America. Take a listen.
We're reducing taxes very substantially, and we're reducing unnecessary regulations. And we want regulations, but we want real regulations that mean something.
As an industry, we're excited about working together with the President and his administration on tax policies, on regulation, and on trade to really create a renaissance in American manufacturing.
Now, Toyota just now saying its Indiana investment is part of its 5-year plan to invest $10 billion right here in the United States. For more, let's go to Market Watchers Angela Sloan and Brian Brenberg. Angela, obviously, the CEOs walk away from these meetings. They're saying all the right things, but I think they're also playing the game as well and sort of negotiating with via the media. There are things that they want from Donald Trump, like the CAFE standards, lower regulations, lower taxes, and I think in the case of Fiat, perhaps, hey, give us a break on this environmental fine.
Well, I see this as President Trump trying to meet his campaign promises. And one question I have is, why has the folks in Washington not already done this? Why is it just now being done? They should have been sitting down with these big manufacturers and the automakers all along and trying to come up with plans and ideas to bring our jobs back, and they haven't done that. And I understand it's business, and I understand that it's going to boil down to the profit, and these businesses are going to move the jobs back here if it's profitable for them, not because of the politics. But thank goodness that President Trump is willing to sit down with them and say, look, give me your ideas. Tell me what it's going to take to move these jobs back, and let's see if we can work together to get the jobs back and put our people back to work. Because if we can put people back to work, we have more people paying into the tax system, paying into Social Security, paying into Medicare, and it'll help us get our GDP up to where we can get ourselves out of this mess. But we're going to have to bring the jobs back. So I really commend him for taking the time to sit down and ask them their opinion and find out what is it going to take to get our jobs back.
The last administration obviously saw business as the foe and as a source of money, and that was it. They never thought about growth and necessarily capitalism. But Brian, having said that, Mexico seems to have so many distinct advantages at this moment over the United States. How much can we close that economic gap, and how much of it will the U.S. automakers just have to say, hey, we're going to give up some portion of profits out of a corporate responsibility as good, American citizens, and also to Susan's point, maybe to benefit from the fact that people with good-paying jobs will buy our products too.
Charles, when you talk about the gap between Mexico and the United States, I mean, the truth is the United States it's light years ahead of the Mexican economy on so many levels. And so I don't think
the manufacturing, the currency.
Even there, though.
And currency with how much it costs for these people to workers, the trade deals, the 40 exclusive trade deals. I mean, they've got some advantages that I know we can whittle them down. Can we get it to where the playing field is completely level?
No, look, I think we can continue to make the playing field actually advantageous for the United States by fixing problems right here at home. And that's what I love about what Donald Trump has been saying over the past 2 days. He's been talking about, look, let's get our regulatory environment back to something that businesses like, that they can invest in. You make those changes here to taxes and regulation, and look, these problems with Mexico are going to disappear because the United States is going to be a fundamentally attractive place to invest again. I love that he's going to these CEOs and saying, what can we do to make that happen? I think they're going to help them get there, and I think we're going to put our own house in order, and that's going to address a lot of these cross-border questions that we face right now.
Susan, I'm sorry, Angela, if it turns out, though, that these guys come up short with respect to what they say they can do right now, what would you like to see President Trump do? Do you want to see him put in these tariffs, or do you want to see him take specific action beyond just the shaming these guys and putting them in the glare of Twitter and a bully pulpit?
Well, if it gets our jobs back, he may have to take action. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I hope that these CEOs are great enough patriots and great enough Americans that they're going to be willing to negotiate. I hope it doesn't come down to tariffs, and I really don't think that it will. I really think that everybody wants to make America great again, not just President Trump. I know for one, I am willing to do whatever it takes to get us back on our feet, even though I know it may hurt a little to do that, to clean up this mess, may cause a little pain for me, and I'm okay with that. As an American, I'm willing to do whatever we have to do in order to get our country back to where it needs to be.
Brian, on that issue of pain, I say to a lot of people, I know we could win even the worst kind of trade war out there, but it wouldn't come without some serious pain and agony before we can declare victory, even maybe declaring a Pyrrhic victory. Having said that, from an investment point of view, do we get accustomed to these companies perhaps making less money, but by also doing the right thing in the process?
Well, look, again, we're talking about this trade-off of, a company having to make less money in order for the United States to grow. I just don't think we should be thinking that way. We don't need a trade war for the United States to grow. And by the way, the trade war doesn't just hit companies. It's going to hit consumers the hardest. Fred Smith was on with Maria Bartiromo this morning talking about how much consumers benefit from imports from overseas. It's $13,000 a year on average. I just don't think we're asking the wrong question if we're saying, how can we all take a little pain in order to make this work? We don't have to do that. We reform regulation, we reform taxes, we roll back some of these things that are holding back businesses, and we can succeed in the global economy without having to put consumers through the pain of a trade war.
All right, well, let's hope you're right. And both of you guys, Angela, Brian, fantastic stuff. Appreciate it. Thanks.